Hey guys! Today, we're beating Pokemon LeafGreen, but with a twist. After each gym we defeat, I have to release my entire team and start from scratch. So there ain't gonna be any getting attached to a certain Pokemon in this run. Or maybe we will, but we'll just end up heartbroken. Alright, here's the rules. After defeating a gym, all Pokemon that have been used in battle or are in my party during the gym battle must be released. We're not allowed to catch any legendaries, and no items in battle, but held items are okay. Now, before we get started, I just want to thank all of you for supporting the channel. It really means the world to me. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing because I have some big things in the works and you won't want to miss out. But enough of that, let's get started. I decide to pick Squirtle as our starter, and Bulbasaur would have worked too, but this way our rival will have Venusaur at the end, which I think is a bit tougher. Now the only thing we're really worried about is Brock, so we skip some of the trainers, and the only thing that's really worth mentioning is that we catch a Pikachu in Viridian Forest for later. We go ahead and take on Brock with our Squirtle, and with our type advantage, we end up taking him down easily and at a pretty low level. But you know what that means. Get out of here, Squirtle. And hello, Pikachu. Now, Pikachu is pretty weak, but it'll be pretty good for Misty. There's some hikers though, and we won't be able to beat them. So I decide to catch a female Nidoran to help with that. While in Mount Moon, our Nidoran evolves into Nidorina, and our Pikachu faints like 100 times. Great. But we're still able to make it out, and upon arriving in Cerulean City, we go catch ourselves a Sandshrew for later. Now, I am not ready to lose my team yet, so we'll wait for Misty and go take on our rival. Pidgeotto is the biggest threat right now, but Pikachu is able to handle it. Rattata and Abra are quickly taken out, and although Bulbasaur knocks out Pikachu, Nidorina comes in and gets revenge. And now we can head up the bridge to go meet Bill and get the SS ticket. But now we have to take on Misty, and we actually lost this battle so many times because of Starmie. But in this one, we're able to poison it and do some damage with Nidorina before we have to bring in Pikachu, and we get really lucky, barely finishing it off. Man, this battle was so annoying, but not nearly as annoying as having to release my team. And just when they were getting it together. So tough. But alright, Sandshrew, let's do this. We grind some levels in the grass and then take out the Team Rocket Grunt who gives us Dig, and now we can head to Vermilion City. Now, Sandshrew alone isn't gonna cut it for our rival. So, I go catch a Pidgey, and after a few minutes, it evolves into Pidgeotto. Another Pokemon I want is Diglett. So we head into Diglett Cave, and we actually get super lucky, running into and catching a Dugtrio. Lieutenant Surge doesn't stand a chance. We hop on the SS Anne and go straight for our rival. And yeah, as you probably guessed, we absolutely demolished his team. Better luck next time. We rub an old man's back to get cut, and now we can head over to the third gym. And after almost losing my mind doing this puzzle, we take on Lieutenant Surge. We start off with Sandshrew and one-shot Voltorb with Dig. We do the exact same thing to Pikachu, and Raichu spams Double Team, so it takes a bit longer, but we eventually take it down. And look, Sandshrew evolves. Too bad we don't get to use it because I love Sandslash. So, I don't have any other Pokemon, so I run out and catch a Spearow, and then we head to the PC and release my team. And we didn't even use Dugtrio against Surge. What a bummer. We go out and catch another Spearow, and then immediately go trade it for Farfetch'd. If you saw my last video, then you saw Farfetch'd basically get smacked all game. So, we're gonna give it another shot. After a little while, we get Spearow to evolve into Fearow, and now we can head into Rock Tunnel where we can catch ourselves a Machop. There's a few hikers in here, so Machop should help a bunch. We make our way through the dark and eventually make it out the other end to Lavender Town. And usually we would run straight over to Erica's gym, but that would mean I'd have to lose this team, so I opt to take on our rival instead. We start with Farfetch'd and knock out Pidgeotto without taking damage. And next is Gyarados, so we hit it a few times with Sand Attack and then slowly chip away at its health until it faints. We bring out Machop for Growlithe, but then our rival switches to Kadabra. It doesn't matter though, because we knock it out with a crit and then take down Growlithe as well. Last is Ivysaur, and 2 pecks from Fearow finishes the job. Hey, he put up a little bit of a fight, not too bad. Our next stop is the Team Rocket hideout in Celadon City, and while we're in there beating up grunts, our Machop evolves into Machoke. And now it's time to battle Giovanni, or however you say it. I get some flack for the way I pronounce certain names in these games, and that's fine, I get it. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to call him Griffin, just because I didn't know how to pronounce it. But anyways, Machoke takes down his entire team without a problem. Next, we climb up to the roof of this building over here, steal an Eevee for later, and then run away so we don't get caught. But now it's finally time, let's take on Erica. We start off with Fearow against Victory Bell, and although we get paralyzed, we're able to take it down. We keep Fearow in for Tangela and one-shot it with Fly. Vileplume comes in though and survives a Fly and then knocks us out. Farfetch'd actually makes itself useful, believe it or not, and finishes it off. You know what? I'm ready for our next team. Bye, Fearow. Get out of my life, Farfetch'd. See ya, Machoke. Let's go, Eevee. We immediately head over to the department store to buy a Thunderstone, and we evolve Eevee into Jolteon. Next, we head into the Pokemon Tower and catch ourselves a Ghastly while we're in there. After we save Mr. Fuji and get the Pokeflute, we can head south from Lavender Town towards Fuchsia. While making our journey, I decide to catch Snorlax for later. Then, we talk to a fisherman who gives us the Super Rod, and that gave me an idea that'll make this part of the game a lot easier. So we go catch ourselves a Poliwhirl, and then we head over to Cerulean City to trade it for a Jinx, another returning Pokemon from last video. We head over to Saffron City to get Psychic from a weirdo who reads our mind, and then we proceed south from Lavender and level up Jinx along the way. Upon arriving in Fuchsia, we go ahead and get Ghastly to evolve just because I want to haunt her, you know? But now we can go challenge Koga. And yeah, I don't really know if challenge was the right word, because Jinx just hammers his entire team without breaking a sweat. Kind of embarrassing if you ask me. But now we go to the PC and say goodbye to everyone. I hope you guys find a good home, and please don't come back to haunt me. But now it's just me and Snorlax. So we decide to add another member to this temporary team and catch ourselves a Doduo. Also, I almost entirely forgot about the Safari Zone, and while we're in there, we catch a super lucky Dragonair for later, and a Rhyhorn for later. After that's done, we beat some trainers and we're able to evolve Doduo into Dotrio. And now it's time to head to Saffron City. Our first stop is the Fighting Dojo, and we run through it easily with Dotrio, and at the end, we pick up Hitmonchan and add it to our team. Our next stop is Silphco, and we have some big battles in here, so we'll see how they go. First up is our rival, and we start with Snorlax against his Pidgeot. It takes 3 strengths for us to knock it out, and then we switch to Hitmonchan for Gyarados, who takes us down pretty easily. We send in Snorlax and finish it off with another 3 strengths. Next is Growlithe, and we play the long game with Snorlax until Growlithe knocks itself out from recoil. We send in Dotrio for Alakazam and one-shot it with Tri-Attack, and last is Venusaur, who can't withstand 2 flies and goes down. Man, I'm surprised we won at such a low level. Next is Giovanni. We start with Snorlax against his Nidorino, and we're able to take it down with 2 strengths. Next is Nidoqueen, and we're able to get it to yellow health before we go down and bring in Dotrio, who finishes it off. Out comes Rhyhorn, so we switch to Hitmonchan, who, despite its level, is able to knock it out. And last is Kangaskhan, and we're able to take it down to yellow health before going down and bringing in Dotrio to finish the job. I know we won, but man, that one was tough. Before we leave Silph we pick up the free Lapras for later. Now onto the final battle in Saffron, Sabrina. We start off with Snorlax and one-shot her Kadabra. Good start. Then we do good damage to Mr. Mime before she switches to Venomoth, who we take down with a crit. Mr. Mime comes back out and he goes down to a strength, but now the real problem shows itself. Alakazam. It knocks out our Snorlax, one-shots our Dotrio, but our Hitmonchan, it knows Mach Punch, which always goes first, and it does just enough damage to finish it off. Man, that was a lot closer than I expected. But now we gotta release everybody. And come on, Snorlax, why do you have to be like that? No one else gave me a problem, but we're gonna have to put you away. We take some time to level up Lapras and Rhyhorn, and then we head to Cinnabar Island. Once we get there, we head straight into the Pokemon Mansion to retrieve the secret key, and now we're ready to take on Blaine for our 7th badge. Now, we kept losing and losing, so I decided to use my rare candies on Lapras and see if that helps. We start with Lapras, and Growlithe and Ponyta are both one-shots from Surf. We switch to Rhyhorn for Rapidash, and get a little lucky knocking it out with a 4-hit Rock Blast, but now it's time for Arcanine. Rhyhorn gets taken out quick, so we're back to Lapras. We're able to hang on from 2 Fire Blasts, and with 2 Surfs, we finish him off. Wow, we couldn't have done it without those rare candies. I really liked Lapras and Rhyhorn, so I hate to see them go. They'll be missed. But we still have a challenge to beat, so we take Dragonair and head to the Sevi Islands with Bill. While we're there, we catch a Tentacool and shortly after evolve it into Tentacruel. Then, in the forest on 3 Island, we catch ourselves a Drowsy. After finishing up the side story and coming back to Cinnabar, we level up Drowsy so that it evolves into Hypno. Also, before leaving Cinnabar, we catch a Staryu for later. But now it's time to head to Viridian City for our final gym badge. And here we go. We start off with Dragonair against Giovanni's Rhyhorn and one-shot it with Surf. And next is Dugtrio, so we switch to Tentacruel and outspeed it for the easy one-shot. His other Rhyhorn is also a one-shot with Surf, but now Giovanni sends out Nidoqueen, so we switch to Hypno. 2 Psychics is all it takes to knock it out, and now on to his last Pokemon, Nidoking. Hypno barely survives an Earthquake and sneaks in a Psychic before going down, but we send out Tentacruel and finish it off. That's 8 badges and 8 different teams. Only 1 team left, and I'm really excited for it. But first, let's pay our respects as we release these fine soldiers. They really fought hard. But let's build our final team. The first thing we need to do is catch an Abra north of Cerulean, and then we go buy a Water Stone to evolve Staryu into Starmie. Then we stop by the power plant and catch ourselves a Magneton with our Master Ball because it's our last catch of this run. And after we evolve Abra into Kadabra, our team is complete. We just need to level them up a bit, and then we'll be ready to wreak havoc on the rest of the game. We begin with our rival, and we start out with Magneton against his Pidgeot. We take it down with 2 Sparks, and then we switch to Starmie for Growlithe, who's a one-shot with Surf. Next is Venusaur, so we send out Kadabra, and it only takes 2 Psychics to knock it out. We send out Starmie to one-shot Rhyhorn, and then we take down Gyarados with 2 Thunderbolts. Last is Alakazam, so we send in Magneton and take it down to half health before getting knocked out. But then we switch to Starmie and finish it off with a couple of Surfs. Not too bad for a team of 3. Now we gotta head through Victory Road, and as much as I'd like to defeat the Pokemon League with my team under level 50, I really don't think that's gonna happen. So, I level everybody up to level 50, and then we go ahead and give it a try. First up is Lorelei, and we start off with Magneton against her Dugong, and we're able to knock it out with 2 Sparks. Cloyster has terrible special defense, so naturally, it's a one-shot. Slowbro doesn't put up much of a fight either, also going down from 2 Sparks, but now it's time for Lapras. So, we switch to Starmie and do a little bit of damage before going down. We send out Kadabra and finish it off with 2 Psychics, and she sends out her last Pokemon, Jinx. But it's no match for Magneton, who takes it down with a Double Edge. Lorelei was pretty tough. Now on to Bruno. We lead with Starmie and one-shot his first Onix with Surf. And then we switch to Kadabra to one-shot his Hitmonchan with Psychic. Next is Hitmonlee, who also is a one-shot from Psychic, and now he sends out his other Onix, so we switch to Starmie and, big surprise, we one-shot it with Surf. Last is Machamp, so we send in Kadabra, and it takes 1 Psychic and 1 Psybeam to knock it out and beat Bruno. I'm glad to see that he was just as easy as ever. Third is Agatha, and we start with Kadabra and one-shot her first Gengar. Good start. We switch to Magneton for Golbat, and we knock it out with 2 Sparks, and next is... oh no. I'm sorry, Haunter, it did not have to be this way. We use Psychic on Arbok and take it down with 1 hit, and last is another Gengar, but it outspeeds and one-shots our Kadabra. This is not good. Our Magneton gets in a little bit of damage, but it gets knocked out too. But Starmie comes in and saves the day with a critical hit Surf, and we beat Agatha and move on. Wow, that was close. Up next is Lance, and we start out with Magneton against his Gyarados, and we're able to one-shot it with a Spark. We send out Kadabra for Dragonair number 1 and hit a Psychic before we get one-shotted by a Hyper Beam. So we have to switch to Starmie to finish it off. Up next is Dragonair number 2, so we switch to Magneton and spam Double Edge until we take it down with us. Come on Starmie, you can do this. Time for Dragonite, and we get a clutch freeze, so we knock it out with full health going into Aerodactyl. And then we get even more luck with a critical Ice Beam, knocking out Aerodactyl and beating Lance. Wow, that was almost too good to be true. Can we beat the champion? Let's find out. We start out with Magneton against his Pidgeot. We hit with a Spark, and every time I tried this battle and lost, he switches to Rhydon here, so we switch to Starmie so that we can one-shot it with Surf. Arcanine is next, and it's really tough. We get in a Surf, but it knocks us out, so we switch to Kadabra and finish it off with a Psychic. Not too bad, not too bad. We send in Magneton for Gyarados, and we use Spark over and over until our rival finally runs out of full restores and we're able to knock it out. Pidgeot shows its face again, and it goes down easily to a Spark. And next out is Venusaur, so we switch to Kadabra, and oh my gosh, we get a crit! This could be it! Last is Alakazam, so we switch back to Magneton and get some damage in before we go down. Our last hope is Kadabra, and we get one Psychic in, and one more might do it. Yes! We get a crit! Let's go! We did it! I didn't think we could win that battle, but we did. Wow. This was such an amazing run, and that champion battle was just icing on the cake. We used so many different Pokemon, and it just made this run so colorful and so fun. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, and there's many, many more to come. Thank you guys for all of your support, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. And make sure you let me know down in the comments who your MVP of the run was. But alright guys, until next time.